You think being single is lonely? Try living a life built around someone who doesn't understand you. That's the kind of loneliness no one talks about, the one that happens while you're still surrounded by people. Most people chase love like it's oxygen, but real peace begins when you stop gasping for approval. Living alone doesn't mean you've given up. It's the beginning of your single life, not an end to connection. It means you've stopped trading your peace for company. Alone doesn't mean anti-relationship. It means pro-health. The right bonds will meet you at your new pace. In solitude, you stop performing. You start becoming. You rebuild your rhythm, your values, your mind, piece by piece. And one day you realize, being alone was never the problem. For the first time, you're not waiting for anyone to complete you. You are complete. Wholeness wasn't earned, it was only uncovered. And from here on, every connection will be a choice, not a need. Let's begin. Self-sovereignty. There's a strange moment that happens when a person starts living alone. At first, it's loud, not because of people, but because of the echoes inside your head. You replay old arguments, missed chances, half-finished conversations. You reach for your phone and realize there's no one to text who'd actually understand. That's when the real training begins. Most men spend years learning how to impress others, but never how to belong to themselves. But no one ever taught you how to be you without a role attached to your name. When you live alone, you start hearing your own frequency again. The voice beneath all the noise that used to drown you. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." That's not philosophy, that's survival. When no one's around to validate you, you learn to self-approve. When no one checks on you, you learn self-respect. And when no one tells you what to do, you learn leadership over yourself. It's not easy. Some nights you'll sit at the table staring at cold food and colder thoughts, wondering if freedom is worth the silence. But slowly something changes. You stop filling the room with distractions. You stop begging for comfort. You start building clarity. Power doesn't arrive one day. It grows in the tiny moments you choose not to escape yourself. 15 minutes of honest journaling each night. No phone, no music, just the truth and a pen. You'll be surprised how many answers appear when no one else is talking. The first law of living alone is this: you don't need to escape the world. You just need to return to yourself. So tonight, when you turn off the lights, don't rush to scroll or to call. Sit with your own company and ask, if I truly listen to myself, what would I hear? Because that's where freedom begins. Not when you own the room, but when you own your mind. And when you finally meet that quiet version of yourself, the one who doesn't need to prove or please, you realize how much of your life was noise pretending to be purpose. That's not loneliness, that's honesty. And honesty is where the single life begins to heal you from within. If this moment met you where you are, hit like and subscribe if you're ready to keep walking this quiet path with us. Not to follow, but to remember you're not alone in this kind of peace. Master the quiet. There's a kind of silence that doesn't just quiet the world. It rewires your soul. At first, it feels strange. You turn off the TV and suddenly the room feels too honest. You start hearing your own heartbeat, and for the first time in years, you realize how fast you've been running, even while sitting still. There's a moment when you turn off everything, and it feels unbearable. You'll want to text someone, play something, escape into a voice that isn't yours. But stay 1 minute longer than your fear allows. You don't hate silence. You hate what it shows you. Stay so it can start to show you something kinder. Because that's when silence changes shape. from something that exposes you to something that begins to hold you. Most people fear silence because it reflects them too clearly. That's why they keep music playing, conversations going, schedules packed. But the Stoics saw silence differently. Not as emptiness, but as calibration. It's where the world stops spinning long enough for your truth to catch up. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." But the real translation is softer than it sounds. Freedom isn't about control, it's about returning. Returning to the place inside you that no noise can reach. And the more you listen, the more alive you become. You start tasting your morning coffee again. You notice the way your thoughts soften when you stop interrupting them. The world hasn't changed. You have. True calm doesn't come when everything is peaceful outside. It comes when you no longer need the world to be silent for you to feel peace within. So when the quiet returns tonight, don't rush to let it fill you. Because silence is not the absence of love. It's the space where love for yourself finally speaks. When silence steadies you, direction stops hiding. You are not the mind's chatter. You are the space in which it rises and fades. In that space, something sacred appears. Not thought, not reason, but knowing. It doesn't speak in words, only in peace. Stay long enough and you'll see. Silence isn't empty. It's how your soul remembers its shape. Direct your growth agenda. Have you grown tired of hearing advice from everyone else? People telling you how to live, how to heal, how to move on. As if your story could be fixed by their script. They mean well, but they don't see what's inside your silence. There comes a point when you stop collecting opinions and start reclaiming authorship. Because the truth is, no one knows your timing like you do. No one feels your rhythm, your seasons, your pace of becoming. Most people grow when life pushes them. But those who live alone learn how to grow by choice. Not from pressure, but from precision. The Stoics called it prohairesis, the ability to decide your own direction. Seneca once said, "While we wait for life, life passes." And waiting for permission is the slowest form of self-betrayal. In a relationship, your growth often adapts to someone else's comfort. But in solitude, it evolves at the speed of truth. You don't need approval to start. You need alignment. And alignment begins when you stop asking, "What should I do?" and start asking, "What feels true to me now?" It's okay if you don't know yet. Most of us grew up chasing someone else's version of success, and now we're learning how to hear our own. Growth isn't about speed, it's about sincerity. That's what a high-value single life really means. Living by inner tempo, not outer pressure. Even a slow step in your truth is faster than a sprint in someone else's story. And yes, some days you'll slip. You'll feel unmotivated. You'll question why it matters when no one's watching. But that's exactly why it matters. Because integrity built in solitude is the kind that doesn't collapse under applause. So tonight, write this truth somewhere. You'll see it every morning. I'm not waiting for the world to agree with my direction. Growth isn't noise, it's refinement. It's the quiet sharpening of a soul that no longer needs to prove itself. Because when you master your direction, you no longer need to chase purpose. You become it. What truth have you delayed because no one clapped yet? The applause you're waiting for will never sound as loud as the peace that comes from alignment. You don't need noise to feel alive. You just need truth steady enough to breathe in silence and still feel whole. Own the clock. There's one truth you can't outrun. Time never argues. It just keeps moving, with or without your permission. Most people treat time like it's infinite, but the ones who've lived alone long enough wish to know better. You start to feel its texture, How mornings stretch, how nights collapse, how a year can vanish in what felt like a month. You open an old calendar and realize the boxes were full, but your days weren't. When no one shares your bed or your schedule, you realize how much of your life used to belong to someone else's clock. You ate when they were hungry, rested when they were tired, planned your future around their moods. Now the hours are yours, but that freedom can feel frightening. There's an ache in quiet mornings when you realize no one's waiting, no one's asking where you are. But that emptiness is sacred. It's space becoming yours again. Fill it not with noise, but with meaning. Because when time is finally yours, you no longer have excuses. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." He didn't say it to scare us. He said it to wake us up. Every day you delay what matters, you exchange a piece of life for comfort. And comfort, once it becomes routine, is just another form of slow death. The world glorifies busy people, but busyness is often just distraction in disguise. Solitude teaches you a harder art: to sit in stillness without feeling unproductive, to slow down without losing direction. One day you'll look at the clock differently, not as a threat, but as a mirror. You'll see that every minute spent in alignment spans your life, and every hour spent chasing noise erases it. So protect your time the way you'd protect your peace. Guard it from meaningless conversations, from energy that drains but doesn't deepen. Because time is not a resource, it's a reflection. How you spend it is who you are becoming. And when you finally own your hours, you stop counting days, you start living them. Set financial boundaries. Money has a strange way of revealing who truly leads your life. When you share it too freely, you don't just lose cash, you lose clarity. And most people never realize how much of their stress comes from spending in ways that don't reflect who they are. In relationships, money becomes emotional. It's used to prove love, to fix distance, to soften guilt. You buy peace because it's easier than confrontation. I've done that too, trying to buy a closeness with dinners, gifts, generosity I couldn't afford. But the truth is, every time you pay for harmony, you bankrupt respect. Love built on debt, emotional or financial, always collects interest later. We think generosity buys closeness. In truth, clarity keeps it. You give too much because you're afraid that setting limits makes you cold. But solitude teaches a cleaner truth. Boundaries are not walls. They're mirrors. They show you exactly what you value and what you've been avoiding. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself." It's not anti-wealth, it's pro-awareness. When you live alone, money becomes simple again. A tool, not a trophy. You stop spending to be seen and start investing to stay free. Sometimes that looks like canceling a subscription you never use and funding a class you always wanted. You'll notice something profound. The moment you stop explaining your choices, you start owning them. You don't need to justify why you prefer solitude over nightlife, or why you'd rather spend on a book than on appearances. Because money isn't just currency, it's energy. And every transaction either strengthens or weakens your integrity. The world tells you that sharing everything is love, but giving beyond your peace is not generosity. It's self-abandonment. Boundaries won't make you colder. They'll make your love more honest. You can care deeply and still say, "This is mine to protect." When you build your financial boundaries, you're not being selfish. You're building stability, the kind that outlasts emotions. Because emotional security means little without financial sovereignty. So next time you reach for your wallet, pause and ask, Am I buying freedom or avoiding truth? What's one expense you're ready to retire this week? In solitude, you learn that money doesn't define your worth. It simply reflects it. Now build a space that spends like your values, quietly, on what matters. If this part spoke to you, drop a comment. What's one thing you've stopped spending on to buy back your peace? Your words might remind someone that self-respect is still the best investment. Build your fortress. A young monk once asked his teacher why his room was so empty. The teacher smiled and said, "Because peace doesn't visit crowded places." Years later, when the monk had lived through loss, noise, and endless seeking, he finally understood. His room wasn't empty. It was full of what mattered. When you live alone, your space begins to teach you the same lesson. Walls stop being silent. They start reflecting you. Every corner holds a story. The chair where you overthought everything. The kitchen where you learned to eat slow again. The window where you realized loneliness was turning into clarity. Most people decorate to impress, but when there's no one to admire it, honesty moves in. You stop buying to fill silence and start choosing what calms your spirit. You discover that minimalism isn't about owning less. It's about keeping only what respects your focus. Seneca once wrote, "The mind must be given objects of contemplation." That's what a home in solitude becomes, not a place of escape, but of direction. Your space disciplines you when your will fades. It mirrors your mind's order, or its chaos. Build it like a home you can rely on. Let every object earn its right to stay. Let your room be a bell of quiet. Step in and it softly rings you clean. Keep a desk that invites reflection, a clean corner that breathes focus, a soft light that reminds you how gentle stillness can be. This is your fortress, not to shut the world out, but to return to yourself when it gets too loud. Because peace doesn't demand perfection, it just needs space to land. So tonight, before you sleep, look around. Does your home reflect your freedom or your fatigue? Move one thing, wipe one surface. Breathe in the quiet you've created. Because when your outer world begins to match your inner one, you don't just live alone, you live aligned. Once your space is calm, life starts testing what belongs within it. Vet by absence. If you stop texting first, what still stays? Absence has a way of showing you the truth that presence hides. When you stop reaching out, you finally see whoever reached back. When you fall silent, you learn which connections were built on depth and which ones depended on noise. There's a moment in solitude when the phone stays quiet, and for the first time you feel both lonely and liberated. It's confusing at first, how peace and pain can coexist in the same breath. But that's the cost of clarity. You start seeing who actually values you, not for what you give, but for what you are. Most people fear being forgotten, so they keep forcing contact, replying out of habit, holding on to conversations that died months ago. But absence, when used wisely, becomes your filter. It doesn't break real bonds, it reveals them. The people who vanish weren't enemies. They were just not your future. Solitude selects. It never replaces community. Keep the few who grow with you. That's not isolation, that's alignment. The Stoics understood this test of silence. Seneca wrote, "Associate with those who make you better." He didn't mean to judge others, but to protect your peace from those who drain it unconsciously. If your calm annoys someone, that's not your arrogance. That's their discomfort with your evolution. And yes, it will sting. Realizing that some people loved only your availability, not your essence. It hurts, but it isn't a verdict on your worth. It's a mirror of their limits. But loss isn't always punishment. Sometimes it's precision. What falls away in your quiet was never meant to stay through your growth. There's power in learning who stays when you stop performing. You don't have to end relationships dramatically. Just stop overextending, and truth will do the editing for you. Solitude isn't loneliness, it's quality control. It teaches you that presence is not measured by proximity, but by alignment. And when the right people do appear again, you'll know the difference, because they'll add peace, not tension. So don't fear the silence after you step back. It's not emptiness. It's the sound of your life reorganizing itself around truth. Who still brings calm when you stop performing? With your circle clarified, the next test is private. Will you choose the harder good when no one is watching? Eliminate the easy out. Comfort is the most seductive trap in modern life. Discipline isn't one grand decision. It's the quiet choice you repeat every day, even when no one notices. It whispers that you're safe, that you've earned a break, but behind that softness hides decay, the slow erosion of purpose. Most people don't quit because life gets too hard. They quit because an easier door opens. An argument becomes silence. A promise becomes maybe later. Discipline turns into distraction disguised as self-care. The Stoics warned about this centuries ago. Epictetus wrote, "Difficulties show what men are. Every time you choose ease over effort, you trade potential for relief. And relief feels good until it becomes your identity." Living alone will expose this truth fast. There's no one left to blame, no one to rescue you from yourself. If you skip the workout, no one notices. If you sleep through your goals, no one wakes you. That's when freedom tests its cost. Will you use solitude to rise, or as permission to drift? Pain, boredom, resistance, they're not signals to stop. They're invitations to build stamina for what you say you want. Here's the paradox. The easy path is never actually easy. It just delays the difficulty until you're weaker. And the hard path? It hurts now, but it hands you back your strength. So stop negotiating with your smaller self. Stop labeling every challenge as too much. You're not tired, you're underused. You don't need more comfort, you need more meaning. Every time you walk through discomfort, you shrink the size of fear. Every time you choose the harder right over the easier wrong, you remind life who's in charge. Because real freedom isn't escaping effort. It's outgrowing the need to. All this strength means nothing if it cannot turn into mercy. If discipline builds your edges, forgiveness saves your center. Now we learn the courage that doesn't roar. Forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't a decision. It's a release, like exhaling after years of holding your breath. A woman once suffered from a strange illness. Each night she dreamed of a collapsing house filled with people crying for help, the same people who had once hurt her. In every dream, she refused to open the door, until one day a wise man told her, "Your healing begins when you set them free." That night she opened the door. Everyone escaped, and in the end, only one fragile girl remained inside. Herself. When she stepped out, the house crumbled, and for the first time she felt light. Holding on is like drinking salt water. The more you keep, the thirstier you become. Because forgiveness isn't about others walking away unharmed. It's about you walking away unchained. Anger feels righteous at first. It gives you structure, a sense of control. But over time, resentment builds walls around the very heart it tries to protect. The people who hurt you don't live in that cage. You do. The Stoics understood this long before modern psychology did. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. To forgive is not weakness, it's refusing to carry the infection forward." It's choosing not to let someone's darkness dictate your light. Forgiveness doesn't mean denial. It means redefining power, moving from reaction to release. It means saying, you no longer get to live in my mind rent-free. And slowly the energy you used to spend remembering pain turns into strength for building peace. Forgive not because they earned it, but because you deserve to grow beyond it. Forgive not to erase the past, but to protect the future still waiting for you. Because in the end, the person most trapped inside that burning house of resentment was never them. It was you. Once the heart is light, purpose stops whispering. It starts pointing. Expand global vision. When you've lived long enough in silence, something begins to shift. You stop obsessing over survival and start wondering what kind of world you could help build. That's what solitude was preparing you for. Not to stay hidden, but to return different, stronger, quieter, and more useful to life itself. There's a moment when you realize your pain was never wasted. It trained your eyes to see what others overlook, your heart to feel what others ignore. And from that clarity, purpose begins to grow. What if your quiet was never meant to end with you? The Stoics spoke of cosmopolis, the idea that every human soul belongs to one great city. You and the world are one gesture. Refine the person, and the world bows a little. You are not meant to stand above the world, but within it, as one who contributes something useful. Your solitude gave you roots. Now it's time to grow branches. Because a truly high-value single life isn't about isolation, it's about contribution. Read widely, travel if you can, listen to people you don't agree with, study history not to feel small, but to remember that every great life once started from a single quiet decision to serve something larger than themselves. The person who lives alone learns a different rhythm of empathy. You start helping without needing credit, loving without expecting return. You don't perform goodness, you become it. And when goodness no longer needs an audience, that's when solitude completes its circle. You return to the world softer, clearer, quieter. Not to impress, but to illuminate. Because the strongest light never shouts, it simply stays. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What's bad for the hive is bad for the bee," meaning your peace means little if it never touches another life. Use your calm to create clarity for others. It's your lessons to shorten someone else's pain. That's how solitude turns into service. Start with your street, your team, your family. Responsibility is how private peace becomes public good. You don't have to change the whole world. Just keep your part of it awake. Because the person who heals in private quietly shifts the balance of humanity. So step outside your walls, not to escape, but to extend. You have built strength in silence. Now let it speak through what you do. Because the final purpose of living alone was never isolation. It was preparation. The more you heal alone, the more gentle you become with everyone else. Solitude doesn't separate you from the world. It deepens your place in it. If one person came to mind while you listened, what will you do for them this week? If this journey spoke to you, hit like and subscribe to Move or Die Stoic. Not to follow, but to stay close to what keeps you grounded. Your quiet support lets this message keep reaching the people who need it most. You've walked through silence, discipline, forgiveness, and truth. And somewhere along the way, you stopped running from yourself. That's what this journey was always about. Not becoming untouchable, but becoming whole. Solitude was never punishment. It was preparation, a quiet apprenticeship in peace. so that when the noise returns, you no longer lose yourself in it. If these words stayed with you, take them into your single life. Live them quietly, powerfully, and freely. Build your days like small prayers. Keep your peace like a promise. And when love comes again, meet it from fullness, not from need. Thank you for walking this path with Move or Die Stoic, where solitude becomes strength and strength becomes light.